Texas. To outsiders, we are just cowboys and horses, but we all know that Texas has the biggest, most beautiful cities in the world, from the state capital of Austin to the busy highways in the large city of Houston. Or maybe you might be in the history-enriched city of San Antonio. Possibly you're in the greatest one of them all, Dallas, Texas. Point is that no matter which corner of this great state you are in, you're covered under the sombrero of coverage with a true Texan. Northwest Insurance Agency. Call us today for sombrero-style coverage from the best in Texas.
This is the On the Pony Express podcast, part of the On3 network. Check out all the SMU coverage you need at ontheponyexpress.com. Now, here's your host, Billy Embody.
1, 2, 3, let me go.
Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of the On the Pony Express podcast, presented by our friends at Northwest Insurance Agency. I'm Billy Embody. Thanks for listening. Give Mark Villasana a call, 214-352-5656, and review your insurance coverage, latest rates, coverage, all of your things relating to insurance. He'll get you right and make sure you have the right coverage. And he'll also talk a little SMU football, basketball, whatever you want to talk about with regards to SMU, because they're near and dear to his heart. So you might as well take advantage of that and chat it up with him as well. Hope everybody had a great 4th of July weekend. We are finalizing our move. That's why it's the very same look as what you saw on the De'Ara King podcast, if you watch on YouTube, but knocked out these 2 interview-only podcasts for you guys. We've got another one coming later this week that I'll kind of help me debut my new quote-unquote studio office, whatever you want to call it. We'll take you guys there on either Tuesday or Wednesday of this week, but do want to get you guys out another interview. This one really excited about getting with SMU defensive backs coach Rickey Hunley, and one of the guys that has been with Scott Simons forever, and really is one of his right hand men on that defensive staff. Obviously, you've got co-defensive coordinator Maurice Crum, you've got Tibbs doing his thing, Sam Dunham doing his thing. This is a great defensive staff, but Rickey Hunley and Scott Simons work together day in, day out in the secondary. I mean, they are, kind of like a married couple, I would say, in a sense, because that's just how long they've been together. And so they know a lot about what each other are thinking, what they need for this defense. And, it's good to have somebody that also knows the defense that well, that can kind of bounce things off of, each other. So it's a really good time to get Rickey Hunley on. He gives you a look at the not revamped secondary, but some changes, just like any other position. It seems like, with today's day and age of the transfer portal, but, really gives you a good feel for how this secondary is shaping up, and one that should be one of the strengths of this team, I think, with who they've got coming back with Isaiah Nwokobia, Ahmaad Moses, Deuce Harmon in year 2 with the program. A lot of exciting newcomers, I think, into the fold. Some guys who look like they've stepped up, that have returned to the program, that are having the opportunity to get into bigger roles. But, man, the hype train for Ahmaad Moses and Isaiah Nwokobia is taking off, especially for Isaiah. He hit a couple of All-American lists lately. So, really gives you a good look into, what he's looking like as far as, what he's going to bring to this secondary, I think. And that's really exciting as he gets into what is going to be his final year with the program, and one that has just, been kind of ups and downs a little bit, but has seen such an incredible finish over the last couple of seasons that he deserves his flowers this season. So for him and Ahmaad Moses, you really hope that everything pans out the way it should. So make sure you guys give a good listen to this one. It really gives you an inside look into how those 2 guys are. But do want to say we're also presented by our friends at the Thomas Auto Group. We appreciate the Thomas Auto Group for their support of the On the Pony Express podcast as well. Go up 75 McKinney. Learn about the Thomas Promise. Get employee pricing on new and pre-owned vehicles when you mention ontheponyexpress.com. Huge piece there. Whether it's their Ford, Subaru, Volkswagen, or new Mitsubishi dealership, head up 75 and visit the Thomas Auto Group and learn about the Thomas Promise today. All right, it's time. We're going to get into it with SMU cornerbacks coach Rickey Hunley. one of Scott Simon's close confidants on the staff. Really excited to share this interview with you guys and get it going with SMU cornerbacks coach Rickey Hunley. So here it is. Let's go to the interview. Welcome back to the On the Pony Express podcast. Really excited to be joined now by SMU cornerbacks coach, pass game coordinator Rickey Hunley. Thanks for the time, man.
Appreciate it, brother.
How are summer workouts going with the guys? We'll get to your group, but this is a rough time of year for the guys as it now starts to heat up. They're out there working with Grizz, but they're building a lot of bonds. They're getting better. What's it looking like so far?
Well, they've done a great job. Grizz and DC and their crew do an awesome job of getting the guys prepared in the weight room first and foremost, but then they also are a big proponent and piece of the culture aspect of things, just making sure guys are doing things the right way, uniformed in how we dress and how they attack the weights, but also, the structure that they provide and when they get on the grass, and just being able to see those guys. So, from time to time we get to poke our head over there and see them work, whether they're on the practice field or whether they're in the indoor, and feel confident that our guys are working hard. They're pushing each other. You can feel the leadership in the guys that you should. The Nwokobia, the Ahmaad Moses, Kevin Jennings, obviously, Jordan Hudson and Mello, those are the guys, of course, I get to see quite a bit, from a secondary standpoint. But, I think collectively you can just tell that, our guys are glad to be back and working their tails off to get ready for the upcoming season.
You've got a lot of key returners. You've got Ahmaad Moses, you've got Nwokobia, you've got Deuce Harmon, some of those key guys. What have you seen from those returners in leadership roles as they've, kind of been, taking over a little bit for guys like a Jonathan McGill? And I know they've been leaders, but obviously a big opportunity for them to take that next step up.
Consistency from them and what they do as far as their assignment and understanding their responsibility. But then I think the key aspect of seeing them grow and become leaders and continue to be leaders is the way that you see them interact with the younger guys. Zay and Ahmaad will stand behind those younger guys when they're taking reps, and they're like me and Scott, to be honest with you. And so we kind of step back because they'll be telling them, hey, this is where you need to be aligned, this is the way it needs to look, this is what you're thinking, this is the execution of it. And so that's always positive to see guys in that role. Deuce as well, his maturation process since he's gotten to us here at SMU, we're excited about, because he came in and he was struggling a little bit and he was out of shape and he was dealing with some injuries. But, now, dude has a huge grin on his face when he walks in the building. He's been a leader in my room as far as, any time when we're together from a defensive back, or from a cornerback standpoint. And so very refreshing to see and see him taking the next step as well. Because they know they got guys here that are going to compete with them as well, and push them for possible playing time or different things like that. But they've welcomed it because, they know where we were and where we want to get back to.
You lose some vets, some guys that played a lot of football, Brandon Crosley, Jonathan McGill, C.J. Sanders. You have some of those positions and snaps up for grabs. Obviously, it's not fall camp yet, but how do you guys see some of those spots, nickel, other outside corner spot? How do you see some of those things panning out early on as far as who's in the mix and all of that?
I think the healthy competition is the exciting part of it. You don't have one guy where you're just giving one name. At nickel right now you have Kyron Chambers, who had a great spring, really grew up and has continued to take steps forward. And then you had Jaden Milner-Jones, who banged up a little bit in the spring, but has come back healthy, looks great, looks awesome, looks like he picked up right where he left off, and those two are pushing each other like crazy. And then you got Lamontre Spencer as well. Fat has come in, has a better grasp of the defense after the spring, and now, you really see those three guys really jockeying and competing, So that part is fun. As you just kind of see them. And right now, everything is a lot of off-season work, but, they're three pretty competitive individuals, so you kind of see it in the weight room, you see them running, all of those different things. And so I think that's, or I feel that's the positive of it, is that you got them pushing each other and there's multiple names. At the other cornerback spot, it's kind of the same thing. You know, I think you got experience in a guy like Smoke, you know, who's going to come back, and this will be year 3 for him. And, you know, I think he's kind of, you know, he didn't have the year that he wanted to have last year, so I think that's fueled him. I thought he had a really good spring. Was very impressed with him this spring, but then, you know, you throw in the 2 young guys with Javian Holiday and with Zay Gentry, right? You don't throw those guys in the mix. You know, Zay just getting here in June, but, you know, those are 2 very talented young guys. And then, you know, Marcel Barnes maybe being, you know, one of the more talented guys on the back end period, played as a true freshman at Syracuse, fully cleared, you know, and now you can really see him taking steps forward as far as just being confident to be back out there and excited. And so it's been fun to watch, you know, just see them grow. You know, we'll get into the actual competition, you know, in camp when we get to that point. But right now, I think we got a pretty healthy mix of guys that are going to push each other.
The On the Pony Express podcast is presented by our friends at StatusJet, StatusJet.com. Make sure you reach out to David Henry and his team today. It is now even easier for businesses to write off private jet expenditures. So make sure you reach out to StatusJet and figure out what that means for you and your business. And also, you can still get the discount code Pony Up ACC applied to a round trip flight. So you've got that going for you. Mention On the Pony Express, get that discount, plan your next work trip, whether it be colleagues, whether it be trying to impress a new client, whether it be trying to get a new client on board. Treat them right with a trip on StatusJet. So reach out to them today, StatusJet.com, and plan that extra special trip with our friends over there at StatusJet. We'll talk a lot about different guys or whatever, but this Duncanville group that is all back there that has at some point has played together or been on the field in different, you know, roles together. That dynamic, you've got Tyron Polley, Jay Holly, you've got Lamadrick Spencer, Kadavian Dotson-Walker. Am I missing one there? I feel, you know, they've got the gang back together, and it's exciting because they're all young and they've all got a chance.
Well, and for us, you know, big thing, the major thing, just recruiting period, right? When you're recruiting, you want to recruit from winners, you know, as far as programs. And so when you look at the program that Coach Samples has put together over at Duncanville, now you see firsthand why those guys are successful. You know what I mean? They in the weight room, they work like crazy. Like Coach Grizz will come up and he'll be like, man, they just work different. You know what I mean? But that starts with what they do there. Then obviously they're extremely skilled athletes. And then they're high-level thinkers on the field for us as well. And so those things for us are, you know, it's kind of hard to just interchange that, right? And you know, you can't take that for granted by any stretch. You know, when they played, you know, at the highest level, really, of high school football in the nation and been champions, been successful, been star players, you know, it kind of makes sense when they get here that they're doing the same things. You know, there's a learning curve, but at the same time, you know, you've seen a kid like Tyron Polley come in the semester and, you know, flash. Yeah. And I think it just is a testament to the foundation that they built there at Duncanville.
Yeah, don't mess with the man in the golf cart.
No,
to tell you that much.
We're gonna go see him. Yeah. We're gonna go get as many of them as we can. I promise you that.
Yeah. The addition of Marcel Barnes. What did you see from him when you went out and recruited him in the transfer portal? Obviously, didn't get much time with him in the spring, but now that he's running around out there, you get to actually see the flashes there. I'm sure too.
You know, the transfer portal world is, you know, if a guy has film and he has, you know, playing experience, that obviously makes it easier for you to make, you know, a better decision than if he doesn't. And so, you know, one of the things that Marcellus had as a true freshman was 4 games of starting under his belt, you know, along with X number of snaps in the season. You know, the only thing that probably really shortened his time on the field was the injury. And so once, you know, I reached out to him early on. He and I kind of connected early on. And then, you know, we moved forward with other guys. And then he and I kind of circled back around. And it was like, he was like, Coach, I'm still interested. I'm being very picky in this process because one, I don't want to do it again. But then two, it's just like this second time I want to make sure that all the boxes are checked. And so when he and his family came here, talking to him over the phone, I was impressed. But when they got here, when they came up for their visit, and you see mom and dad with him, you see him and who he is, you like, not only are we going to get a really good player, but like we get a leader. You get a guy that I would not be surprised out of the cornerback room if he's a captain, it's his time, in his time there, and in his time here. And then you see the way he's attacked the rehab, and you see, the ability that he has when he is able to move around on the field, and so you're extremely excited about it, and I think the positives of who he is as a person, are just as evident, in the way that he plays as his athletic ability. So I feel like you hit a home run. You know what I mean? Now we just got to go make sure you do.
Speaking of home runs, I mean, Ahmaad Moses and Nwokobia being the safety duo back there, how much have you seen them grow from when you guys got here? And I mean, I know they're being slept on or whatever you want to, chip on their shoulders, I'm sure, from lack of attention nationally, but they are, I think, one of the best safety duos in the country.
I think, I don't know everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
But you got to tell me two better ones, you know what I mean, that impact the game in the pass game, in the run game, special teams. Like, they just are well-rounded, athletes that are going to impact, like I said, in all three phases. And so there's two things, right? That means stability for us and playmaking ability for us, but that means that if they're not on everybody's radar, they better be, you know what I mean? And they hopefully put themselves in a position to play pass here. But when we walked in the door, obviously we inherited Zay. He had been, come off a really productive freshman season. But he had been injury, riddled basically from the end of the season on. Had nagging injuries with, kind of soft tissue, track type injury, and so that first year he redshirts, and you're like, okay, is he redshirting the transfer? Is he redshirting to, we just don't know. But I think relationship building was the biggest piece with Zay. Scott is our defensive coordinator, but he also coaches the safeties, and I think he just really did a great job of saying, all right, scrap what you did as a freshman, scrap what you, went through as far as the red shirt, and let's, me and you start to develop a relationship, right? And then I always get to come in and I develop with a relationship with all of the back end guys. And so I think trust was the biggest thing with Zay. And when we had his trust, he's been able to flourish, right? He had the athletic ability. He was a, star player in high school at Skyline. He's just been able to lead us in a way that, we didn't imagine coming in. And so it's been awesome to see. He takes the ball away at a high clip. I think we were counting the other day. He's got to be, 12 interceptions somewhere around there, and 10 to 12. So that's impressive, and to have him for another year is obviously awesome because he's a coach on the field now, right? He knows everything we're doing and how we do it. And then, when you look at Ahmaad, really, Ahmaad been slept on since he was at Mansfield Summit.
Yeah.
And all he's done is go out and become one of the more productive guys in the nation. You don't know it and see it always, when you initially watch him. But like when you go back and watch a game or when you watch the season and you see how fast he is, game speed wise, you see how physical he is as a tackler, how well he covers not only ground but offensive receivers. It's just impressive, is what I say with Ahmaad. I've been impressed with him and how he's grown each year. And so now he's just to the point where it's like, all right, he runs the show, he's ready to go. And so those two back there, it's like having Batman and Batman, right? You can't go Batman and Robin, right? Both of them are superheroes and in their own regard, and they do a lot for us.
How cool is it to see guys get this opportunity with NIL and all of the things that come with that, to do things like what Zay's been able to do, have some business ventures on the side and invest or, take your money and put it into something that, could grow or whatever?
that's what I would imagine the NCAA and everybody,
That's what they want.
That's
what they
put
want
in place,
people
right?
to do.
That's what it's supposed to look like, right? And so we just happen to have the poster child of it for SMU because, man, like to see where Zay is from and has come from, right? And to see what he's doing now, like you said, with his name, image, and likeness, it's awesome, right? Because one, he's doing something that's going to impact his life as well as his family moving forward, right? And so the money that he's able to earn at this point in time in his athletic career is not just frivolously being spent or blown, right? Two, he can talk to our guys about, hey, these are some things that I'm doing, right? And I've heard him mention some of the things to guys, and he don't mention it twice. He like, either this is what you're interested in, or if not, okay, this is what I'm doing. You know what I mean? Yeah, he doesn't go on and on about it, but I think he just try to give nuggets here and there. And then for us, from a recruiting aspect, like to have a guy like that, for us to kind of, for lack of a better word, show off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We don't use him by any means, but like, he came around in all of our visits this past time, and just talk to parents, talk to guys, and then they see him on social media, like flipping the house and got McDonald's NIL and this, that, and the other. And so, like, it's like, oh, that's that guy. You know what I mean? So he's become like a little celebrity within his own. But for me as a coach, and I think our staff would echo this, like, that's NIL done right. And that's what we would hope that, one, we would be able to provide that opportunity, but two, that we would have a lot of guys just like Zay, kind of following suit.
Last question. When you look at your room, is this maybe your room and maybe the secondary as a whole, is this at least on paper the best group you've had?
It's crazy you said that.
It's
crazy you said that. So we finished up with them this morning.
I don't have ears everywhere.
It's crazy because we dug into them a little bit after the workout, just because you just get into a position where you're in the middle of the summer, right? You can get bored, and what we try to make sure is that our guys, the routine can't be boring. You know what I mean? It's got to be executed at a high level, and it's got to be continuous and consistent. And that's what I told them. I said, right now, guys, looking at you collectively, it's probably one of the better groups that we've had here. And then, Coach Messer talked to me. We were walking off the field, and he said, it might be better than when we were at Liberty. You know what I mean? We had some good groups there as well. And so that's what's exciting about it. The inexperience is going to be the difference, right, the separator. And, how quickly can we get guys who don't have those game reps banked moving forward, and then, how well can the guys that do continue to push the envelope. And so I can't say yet that it is, but like you said, on paper, it dang sure looks like it. So we're excited.
That's big news if it all comes together for you guys. So we're looking forward to seeing it out in fall camp when you guys get back out there, and in the 2025 season as SMU looks to make another statement in the ACC. So, Rickey Hunley, thanks for joining the On the Pony Express podcast. We'll catch up again soon.
Appreciate you, brother.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Hope you guys enjoyed that interview with SMU cornerbacks coach Rickey Hunley. Really appreciate all the time he's given us and spent with us, and talked us through some things off camera as well. Spoke with Dean. We've got an exclusive interview that hit the site over the weekend as well with Rickey Hunley. So make sure you check that out at ontheponyexpress.com. Sign up for just $1 for your first week. If you missed out on signing up for the site with our special $1 for a year that was just about a week ago now, man, you missed out. Over 150 people took advantage of it. Really excited to have so many new folks on the site as we enter into year 2 of covering the ACC with SMU. So it's exciting times to be at ontheponyexpress.com. Don't miss out. Sign up for today. And also reach out to our friend Andy Ludicky and think about signing up for a franchise. That is something that is a life-changing decision. So it's worth talking about with Andy Ludicky. He's a franchise consultant. His services are completely free for you to do this. So he's been doing this for years. He's been in the franchise space, and he's worked with numerous different businesses about getting started. And so give him a call, 404-973-9999. 9901 or email him, Andy@myperfectfranchise.net. He could walk you through the process, which franchise is right for you and your family, your financial needs, and your goals. So that is what Andy Ludicky does. He advises, he consults on the franchise businesses that are out there right now and the world of franchise ownership. So make sure you reach out to him today and he will get you set up if that is what you'd like to do. myperfectfranchise.net, and he will get you more information than what you can find on the website. He's a great guy. He's been doing this for years. He's a big college football fan, and I'm expecting him at an SMU game as well, see some of his friends and basically family that are on the SMU football team. So it's time to give Andy Ludicky a call if that's something you've been thinking about. So with that, this wraps up another edition of the On the Pony Express podcast presented by our friends at Northwest Insurance Agency. Hope you guys enjoyed our interview with SMU cornerbacks coach Rickey Hunley. We've got one more for you guys later this week before we get back to kind of the down and dirty usual podcast setup we've got. So I hope you guys have been enjoying the interview only episodes, but it's high time to get back to business at the On the Pony Express podcast. So check us out on theponyexpress.com for more coverage of your SMU Mustangs. I'm Billy Embody. We'll catch you next time on another edition of the On the Pony Express podcast.
Thanks for listening to the On the Pony Express podcast with Billy Embody. Follow us on your socials on X at SMU3 and on Instagram at On3SMU. And keep it locked to OnThePonyExpress.com for more coverage.